Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. So, if you've been following this channel or the other channel known as The Modern Investor, you know that I typically, historically talk about constant events that are in the news within the cryptocurrency space over the last few years. And I want to give it the time frame of roughly around, let's say 2018, 2019, 2020, somewhere around there before Coco Roro. We had a lot of news that there were a lot of large institutions looking to get into the cryptocurrency space. Part of the issue is that a lot of these institutions previously before had made sure to mention that cryptocurrencies were absolutely terrible and the only people who were using them were criminals, what have you, so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure that a large number of you are relatively new to the cryptocurrency space, and you probably also heard the exact same thing at some point over the last 5, 6, and or 7 years. The really interesting part is that since the beginning of this year, and also a good 2 or 3 or so months over the course of the end of last year, we have seen not only an increased amount of regulatory scrutiny, but also this really weird creeping interest from the entities who previously said before that cryptocurrencies were a farce, were terrible, no one's going to be using them. And it's kind of en masse. It's not even like there's 1 or 2 companies who's like, okay, now we're going to get into crypto. But it's like almost an avalanche, digital avalanche of sorts, of these companies who are getting into the cryptocurrency space. And I always make sure to, I try to, especially on this channel, but also the other one, to upload daily. Why? Because there's always a huge amount of nonsense happening within the space, and I want to make sure that everyone is constantly up to date with everything, and you can't say 3 or 4 or 5 years later that you simply didn't know that something was happening. All on the same page? Pretty sure. Cool. So, upon the news that we heard, and I speculated quite heavily on, that BlackRock, the company that owns the world, was going to get into the cryptocurrency space. So, and for clarity, BlackRock had already been in crypto since around roughly 2018, 2019, but it was like a toe in the pool. It was just like one little toe. They mentioned that the cryptocurrency space was interesting to them, but nothing really more transpired from that. And then the news that the US SEC, or rather BlackRock had filed with the US SEC to have a physical Bitcoin ETF, which every other company in the States has already tried to do, but they've all been rejected from over the course of the last, it's been like 11 or so years, which is a little weird and dystopian at this point. The news that BlackRock was actually filing with the SEC, therefore they believe that they had some sort of a chance, and a number of other companies have fallen behind them. This should be incredibly significant news, but part of the problem with the cryptocurrency space is if the larger portion of the cryptocurrency community doesn't see cryptocurrency prices rising rapidly, if you're now waking up and seeing that Bitcoin is up by 9 majillion %, a lot of people tend to not care because they think that price is the most important thing. We have literally received news from more than a dozen countries at this point, not who are trying to make Bitcoin legal tender, but are actively using Bitcoin in trade. If I can remember, I will, as always, put the articles in the description below so you can read through them yourself. When we start hearing that the larger institutions and the banks and the countries are mining Bitcoin and using Bitcoin and believe that Bitcoin is in some way going to be the future, I am constantly surprised that anyone could be confused that this isn't going to be the future in some sort of way and or one of the most used currencies. And when I say that this news should have been more popular, it was not. People completely breezed over it. For some reason, any news of Do Kwon, the guy from Terra Luna, and FTX guy, Sam Mikeman Jackson, whatever this guy's name was, continues to also be in the news as if it's the most important thing. I don't know if these are distractions. I don't want to say like tinfoil hatty kind of stuff, but it's definitely along those lines. The news is, for those of you who were actually wondering, Deutsche Bank, the largest bank within Germany, has applied for regulatory permission to be able to custody, hold, buy, and sell cryptocurrencies. If you were, see, this is monumental news. When you talk about the largest bank in a country and the largest economy within Europe, looking to hold cryptocurrencies, looking for regulatory licenses to be able to do so, This means they know that there is interest. Their larger clients have expressed interest as well. And now the bank is interested and they're trying to take the final steps to be able to do so. When I said in 2018, 19, and 20, we had news like this already, it's because we had news like this already. Back in 2018, 19, and 20, we heard that a large number of banks throughout Germany and the European Union and also there were hundreds within the United States of America were actively trying to get into the cryptocurrency space. But then something happened at the beginning of 2020 and it seemed to have halted all of that activity, and this leads us to where we currently are right now, which then leads me to the situation where I'm constantly telling everyone all these things that are going on, and it doesn't seem to have any, I don't want an effect on price per se, but I want the cryptocurrency community to get riled up. You know that like dozens of banks are now into crypto and are buying Bitcoin, and we've had news about that for a very long time. Is there anyone still out there who doubts that this is the future or that Bitcoin will be around for a very long time? How can you still be confused and or have doubts when this news is constantly floating around? The largest bank within Germany is applying with BaFin for a number of paperworks, whatever. They need to be able to get into the cryptocurrency space actively. David Lynn, Lynne, who manages the bank's banking account or unit, said, "We are developing our digital asset and custody business," referring to the application for a digital asset license made to Germany's security regulator known as BaFin. Lynn also said it is part of a broader strategy to increase fee revenue in Deutsche Bank's corporate bank. Of course, the bottom line is always money. They're not doing it because they're trying to help people, which is a very big thing that I think a lot of people within the cryptocurrency space need to kind of wrap their heads around. While it is interesting that a bank is openly announcing that they're trying to get into the cryptocurrency space, one of the main pieces of news that tends to unfold is that said bank or institution, like Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal, wink, have all announced at some point that they're doing it for financial inclusion. The idea is that while there's billions of people around the world who aren't included in the current financial system, and cryptocurrencies are going to help that. Wait, no. It's these people having to use our systems and then having access to cryptocurrencies and then also having to go to another third-party system that will then help these people with financial inclusion as opposed to just simply being like they can just use the blockchain, which is the entire point. It's meant to be an A-B kind of thing Anyway, so yeah, once again, rolling out from the headlines is news that the largest bank within Germany is getting into the cryptocurrency space. It typically takes around a good 3, 4, 5 months for the remainder of the news to roll out. That is to say that at some point, probably around autumn, perhaps winter, we will hear that they have received their regulatory approval and they can now, almost said custody, hold, and sell and buy and trade cryptocurrencies. And why is that significant? Because next year is Bitcoin's halving. It's not random that all these larger wealthy institutions are now openly getting into Bitcoin. They're expecting people to follow the news, get into crypto themselves, and also help to pump the market in 2024 leading into 2025 when the market should go completely insane so that the banks also profit as well. Don't forget those $250,000 to $500,000 Bitcoin price predictions that we've been receiving. I don't think they're for nothing. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.